How's it going, everybody? CJ here, back with another video. We're doing another First Thoughts today. This First Thoughts is on Captain Ripley Vance. Before we hop into this, though, remember, we got the compiled link in the description of this video, including a link to the giveaway. So if you want to win this playmat and this handful of signed cards, also playmat signed, just check out that giveaway video. It should be the first link in the compiled link. Also in that compiled link, you can find the TCG Player affiliate link, the Patreon, and the store, my personal store. So if you want to support the channel, you can do it through any of those routes. Also got a Twitch, Twitter, Discord if you want to chat with us, and TikTok down there. We're almost to 1,000 people on TikTok, like up to 1,000 followers, so follow me there. And we're going to hop into this. So, Captain Ripley Vance. So as I have mentioned before, I'm doing some tweaks to my First Thoughts, and I want to know what you guys think. So I've actually got 3 additions to my First Thoughts videos going here forward. Unless you guys don't like it, let me know in the comment section if you do like it or not. And so those three additions are, I'm going to do a little summary in the beginning, naming all the categories I'll be talking about. I'm going to do a meme build at the end. And at the very end, I'm going to talk about what commanders the card I'm talking about would be good in the 99. So we're going to do that. And we'll hop into this right now. Captain Ripley Vance. First up, the categories are, there's Infect, Death Touch, Lifelink, give like granters, cards that give Infect, Death Touch, and Lifelink, because those synergize super well with Captain Ripley Vance. We've got mostly instants here that are buffs and draw you cards. That way you can cantrip, so that way you can cast many spells in each turn. We've got cards that have damage triggers. We have some Voltron stuff. And then we have a bunch of one-off cards. And then we have the meme build. And then the 99. And we're going to hop into this. So, Infect cards. Grafted Exoskeleton. Throw that on there, and then suddenly whenever Captain Ripley Vance is dealing damage to an opponent, it's Infect damage, including the damage off the trigger. So any keywords like Infect, Death Touch, and Lifelink work off of his trigger. So if you deal damage when he has Lifelink, then you'll be gaining that life. And if you ping a creature using his ability when he has Death Touch, you can kill that creature no matter how big it is. That's fantastic. So Grafted Exoskeleton can give Infect, and he can kill people with Infect. For Death Touch, you have Basilisk Collar, which also gives Lifelink, so that card's an auto include. Gorgon Flail, Gorgon's Head, and Quietest Spike. Quietest Spike is a little because it's so much mana, but it does grant Death Touch, so it's not the worst. For Lifelink, we have Luxodon Warhammer, Butcher's Cleaver, Shadow Spear, and Witch's Clinic. Witch's Clinic is showing up more and more and more in my First Thoughts videos. That card's sweet. I think that card's going to be really, really good. It's new. I think if you want a copy, you should get it soon, because I think that's going to be a card that gets a little pricey. But all of those seem fantastic in the deck. Next up, we're going to talk about instants. Cantrips mostly. Instants and sorcery, or mostly just instants that draw you cards and give you a buff. There's one card in here that's not an instant that draws you a card and gives you a buff. So, drawing and buffing, you have Bolduvian Rage, Fist of Flame, which is amazing in this deck, auto include, and Rune of Speed. That's the only one that's not instant speed, so that one's okay. And that's what I have for cards that draw you cards and buff your Captain Ripley Vance. Because if you can get Ripley Vance's power up and up and up, and then on your third, if you play 3 spells that give it +3/+3, and that third spell will trigger, and or if you cast 2 spells to get +3/+3, then any spell, that third spell will trigger Captain Ripley Vance. He gets 6 addition to his 3, so that's 9, plus the +1/+1 counter, so that's 10. You'll be able to swing 10 damage somewhere. That's crazy. This card's cool. And if you had Grafted Exoskeleton on it, that wins you, that kills somebody. Nuts. That card's nuts. This card's cool. But there's not a lot of them that both buff and draw you cards. So there's a lot that buff, there's so many different combat tricks in red, so you can kind of just pick and choose what you want from there. But some of the instant speed card draw, because if it's instant speed, since it only triggers once each turn, you can cast instant speed stuff to do it during your opponent's turns too. That seems great. So some of the instant speed stuff is Accelerate, Aleatory, Blind Blast, Boiling Blood, Chaotic Strike, Crimson Wisp, Expedite, Flare, Guerrilla Warcry, Needle Drop, Panic, Psychotic Fury, Reroute, Shake the Foundations, Smash, Soul Fatara, Stun, Thrill of Possibility, Turf Wound, Zap, Valaka Awakening, Crash Through, Warlord's Fury, and Renegade Tactics. A lot of cards I just mentioned there. All of them seem pretty good. It's just cheap cards. I try to stick to cards that with 3 mana or less, that draw you cards, instant speed. Those are going to provide you a lot of fuel so that way you can just keep every turn, just cast 3 spells, draw 3 cards to replace them, cast 3 spells, draw 3 cards to replace them. So that way you can just, over and over and over again, get this trigger. And then some instant speed buffs that you could add in. Just a few of them. I'm just going to mention a few of them, some of the better ones, in my opinion. You have Built to Smash, Infuriate, Titan Strength, and Furious Resistance. All those seem great. This is a card that I think would be pretty good in a Feather deck. Well, actually, I shouldn't have said that yet. That's going to be at the end, and also I have to make sure that I remember to say that at the end, because I didn't have that one written down. But, that's what I have for all the instant speed stuff. Some of the damage triggers. Now, I only have 2 cards in this category, which seem pretty good, though. There's Breaches, Brazen Plunderer, because it triggers whenever a pirate deals damage, not necessarily combat damage, so that's fantastic. And Repercussion. This card's nuts in this deck, like, super powerful. One way you can do this is go Voltron. I'm only going to talk about this a little bit, because there's not too much to talk about. It's pretty straightforward. You throw a lot of equipment on this thing, it's going to get really big, and then you'll be dealing more damage more easily. So some of the good equipment that you can throw into this deck include Commander's Plate, Black Blade Reforged, you've got Ember Cleave, you can throw in cards like Teamer Battle Rage, which seems pretty good to kill people. If you're going to go more Voltron-y, then you can throw in Ketis and Seize the Day and other extra combat spells. Seems really good there. And now we're on to the one-off cards. Some of the one-off cards, Vidalcan Ori, so everything is instant speed, so you don't even have to worry. You can trigger during your opponent's turn super easy. There's damage doublers or triplers or additioners, because if you want to be dealing damage, you might as well deal more damage. You have Torbrand, Fiery Emancipation, Dictate of the Twin Gods, Furnace of Wrath, Jessica, and Gratuitous Violence. Next, also Torolf, not really damage doubling, but any excess damage hits your opponent, so that way you can kill something and hit your opponent with the excess, so that seems pretty sweet. Vicious Shadows, you kill something and your opponents take damage for a number of cards in hand. It seems like a good card. Lithoform Engine and Stronic Resonator, so you can copy the trigger and get 2 damage shots out. Brash Taunter seems interesting in the deck, because the bigger you make Captain Ripley, you can have Brash Taunter fight Captain Ripley and then throw that damage at an opponent, so that way you can just, like, dome people for, like, it basically gets you a free trigger. Seems really powerful in the deck. Animation Module, the Ozolith, and Forge of Heroes seem fantastic in the deck, because it's all +1/+1 counter synergies. Animation Module can give you tokens. The Ozolith can just save your counters if Ripley dies. And Forge of Heroes can just give you an extra one if you have extra mana. One of the really fun ways you can add to this deck, one of the really fun synergies you can add is Fling, Thud, and Kazul's Fury. And also Rupture and Stalking Vengeance. These cards seem super fun in the deck, because you're going to make them huge. You might as well just, like, if someone tries to kill it, just psych, you're getting hit in the face with it. Like, that seems fun. It could be very, like, if you just need a little extra damage to win the game, you can just fling him at somebody. And that would be a blast to do. Also, he's going to get pretty big, so unblockable stuff seems good, because he's got no evasion on him. So Hot Soup, Rogue's Passage, Trailblazer's Boots, and Whisper's Silk Cloak seem fantastic. Good way to get damage in. Head the Eternal also seems really good. So if you do everything in your first main phase, you deal a bunch of damage after casting 3 spells, you get a ton of mana back from the Heb, and then you can cast more spells. Seems good. And now we're on to the meme build. So the meme way that you can build Captain Ripley Vance. It's not going to be the strongest way, and it's not the strongest commander for this, but it could be kind of funny. You can kind of build it as a Storm commander, since a lot of the cards that you're already going to want for Storm you're going to be running anyways, so that we can get 3 spells off in a turn. Anyways, you'll be running a lot of the cards that you need already. So you just add a few extra cards, and then this can be a cool storm deck where you kind of just do mini storms until you have the opportunity to win the game off a big storm. So some of the key storm cards you want are Burgee, Jessica's Will, Past in Flames, Krark the Thumbless. That way you can get your instant sorceries back and still get the cast trigger. Underworld Breach and Mizzix Mastery, so you can get stuff out of your graveyard. Same thing with the Past in Flames. And then some of the good storm cards for rituals. You got Grinning Ignis, which is a pretty cool one. Desperate Ritual, Rite of Flame, Pyretic Ritual, Seething Song, Runaway Steamkin, and Mana Geyser. Seem great. And if you get Captain Ripley Vance big enough, Chandra's Ignition can win you the game. And you can do that through storming off with a bunch of ways to increase Ripley's power, just like a bunch of buffs. So, like, if you can generate a ton of mana, you can cast Bolduvian Rage for, like, 20, and then Chandra's Ignition, then deal 20 to all your opponents, and that seems pretty good. You can also win through real storm cards, like Grape Shot, Aether Flux Reservoir, Gutter Snipe, Firebrand Archer, Alchemist, Thermal Alchemist, and Electrostatic Field. All those seem like decent includes in a storm build. And the last category I'm talking about is in the 99. So Captain Ripley Vance could be a good card inside of a Feather deck, which I already mentioned. Inside other Storm decks, because he will synergize pretty well with some Storm decks. So you got Burgee, Niv Mizzet Parun, Kaikar, Veyrin, Kess, Jorien. All those seem like good includes. Bile Smasher could be a cool include because you're going to be trying to cast spells during each opponent's turn too. So Bile Smasher triggers off the first one you cast, but if you cast a couple extras, and you'll be getting extra triggers, which seems good. Calamax, you're definitely casting spells during your opponent's turn and copying them and stuff, so Captain Ripley Vance could trigger pretty often in that deck. And then Malcolm and Breaches, or just any deck with Malcolm at the helm that has red, or any deck with Breaches at the helm, because he will trigger off. He's a pirate, and when it triggers, you get the card draw or treasure, whatever. Seems good. And that is what I have for Captain Ripley Vance. Please remember, comment down below if you like my new additions of the summary in the beginning, the meme build, and the in the 99. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everybody.